over to Restream. All right. Hey, everyone. It looks like we're live. I think I say that every single time. Lori Swanson here, CEO of Inspire Tech and founder of Career Alchemy Academy. I cannot say enough about the alchemists, and I cannot say enough about how important it is right now to find a place to gather with people, to have a routine and structure where you are and I'm going to talk today's LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live and all of the channels where you are watching me live or this recording. We're going to do a little bit deeper dive into what I'm mentioning here, but the point being that it's just so important to have a place where you can be with people that matter and connect with people in real life. Nothing is more important right now. So, and Career Alchemy is that space. Though we do connect virtually most of the time, but we do outings, both organized and spur of the moment, spontaneous. In fact, this Thursday night, like last week, there was a talk at a local college. Brenda Darden Wilkerson, who's the CEO of AnitaB.org, gave a talk, and a bunch of the alchemists gathered there. And then this week, there's an organization called People Tree, and they have storytellers that come and talk about, every month they meet and talk about a certain topic. And there's a group of alchemists that are going to that. But then the alchemists are from all over the United States. So as we continue to grow, I am hopeful that the alchemists in different parts of the US and Canada and the world begin to gather in their own communities, not only weekly where we meet virtually, but also in real life and connect and just have fun together. So today's conversation, you'll see where the connection is. The title of it is AI Tools Are Beginning to Feel a Little Bit Like Technological COVID. And so this all came out of, all in the space of less than a week. I had conversations with coaching clients, and one of them said, "Oh my gosh, Lori, I've spun out on Chat GPT." And then, within a day, another one said, "My buddy Claude is not quite as smart as he thinks he is. He's smart, but he is starting to make me bonkers." And then I had another client who said, AI has taken over not only my work world, but also my personal world. And I needed to stop. I need to get off this ride. But it was the fourth person all in that space of less than a week that really, kind of had me thinking I had to write about this. And what she had said was, she reached out, she sent me a text actually, and she's like, "I know I don't have a call scheduled, but can we get on a call? Because I just need to talk to a human. My brain is AI fried." So raise your hand if you're all out there feeling a little AI fried. And even more than that, what I've been feeling, and as I went into a deeper conversation, not only with my coaching clients, but also with the alchemists on our call last Tuesday about this topic, is that this isolation that we're beginning to feel because of AI. So during COVID, many of us experienced isolation in ways that we had never expected or experienced before. So at first, it for me, totally, I was like, I don't think this is all that bad. There were these upsides, like, no commuting, more control of my day, so more flexibility in how I did, the balancing of my work and personal life. Also, you know, sourdough starters, anybody? And just yoga pants. I mean, there was a lot of freedom in what was happening as we adjusted to work from home, right? But then something else started to happen. And even though we were busy with people on Zoom all day long, something was missing. And that something was in real life human contact. And so what we started to realize, and I think this is what's happening with AI, is that we need to breathe the same air. It's one of my best friends. She said this during COVID. She said, I just need to breathe the same air as my girlfriends again. I just need to be in the same room, breathing the same air, even if it is COVID air. I need to breathe the same air as other people sometimes. We need to shake the hand and look in the eyes, like in the same room as a new acquaintance. We need to brainstorm and fight over who's going to get that Asiago cheese bagel, drinking coffee as we talk about new initiatives, right? Like with COVID, we could not gather, and we eventually saw the cost of that. And so, according to the CDC, that symptoms of anxiety and depression among US adults roughly tripled during the pandemic. And globally, the World Health Organization reported a 25% increase in anxiety and depression in the first year alone. So isolation has a real negative impact on mental and emotional health. We know that, right? But now AI is showing up in a similar way. It's not forcing isolation like COVID did, but it's quietly making it easier to work alone. And I want to say that again because I want you to hear that, but also recognize it as the truth that it is. It isn't forcing isolation, but it is making it easier to quietly work alone. So many of my clients are using AI all day long, helping them do the repetitive, sometimes, monotonous, and creative work, heavy lift work that they have during their workday, right? Summarizing documents, brainstorming ideas, drafting emails, creating presentations, writing content of all kinds, digging up, research, digging up data. And then they come home and there it is again. They're planning that, 50th surprise birthday party with all the clever things and writing the limerick and, creating the vacation itinerary. And I had another client who was, signed up to do her yoga certification. It's a 200-hour yoga certification, and she's using ChatGPT to figure out how to work in the self-paced course with her work and her home obligations. So I'm not saying it's not beneficial, but it's permeating everything. And it's amazing at helping us process information, move faster, but it's creating AI fatigue. It's brains are feeling AI fried, right? And there's a strange, I don't know, strange, but there's this mental overload that's happening and a quiet feeling of disconnection. That's what I was talking about. That it is, you know, quietly making it easier to work alone. And we don't have to, engage with that content writer. We don't have to engage with a researcher. We don't, we can just, we'll just do it ourselves, And so I had a thought. I'm like, it feels like we need a detox. But of course, that made me think about um, uh, people who are sober curious in January, like dry January, right? So then I thought, okay, what if we treat AI the same way that we treat alcohol in January? What if we become dry AI curious? So it's not like anti-AI. That's really not practical, and it isn't what what we want to do with AI. We want to embrace AI. I don't think of AI as the enemy. It's only the enemy if we make it the enemy. I don't think about AI as the enemy. I just want to be intentional about it, and I also want to recognize that um, that life requires um, us to human contact, right? Human connection. And so, because if AI taught us, or if COVID taught us anything, it's that alone time can be good. And even isolating ourselves at time isn't such a bad practice. It can even be tolerated for a while, but eventually there are consequences. So, what about a 30-day AI detox, your version? But it doesn't mean quitting AI. Obviously, that's not practical, and many of your work organizations are encouraging you to use AI in your day to day. It's not realistic to think that it's going to be gone, especially from work. But what if you decided no AI before 9 a.m.? So you start your day talking to a human first, doing your own thinking first, journaling before you jump on to the tool that connects you to technology, right? You walk outside, you talk to a human. I said that already, to your partner or whatever first, your kids first, before you do that. So you just, no AI before 9. Um, if you have a problem to solve, that you first decide that it will be a human first problem solving exercise. So before asking AI, ask yourself, or yourself and one other person, how would you approach the issue? Get out those post-it notes again, and put them up on the whiteboard, and do the design thinking again without going to AI first, and then let AI up level and AI up level. But let's start here, because that critical thinking that people are talking about having concern, you know, um, let's build off of it, and then we can learn from what AI is offering us by being like, oh, I see where it went, how it got there, how it went there, right? So let it be human first problem solving and solution finding. And then another is number 3. So again, no AI before 9 a.m., human first problem solving, and then AI for output, but not identity. So what I mean by that is um, using it to polish your ideas, but not replace them. So we want to keep the you in your work. Your like I definitely go to AI. Like for this blog, this came out of conversations with my clients. It came out of every Tuesday, Career Alchemy Academy meets. We do coaching. We talk about a touchstone that we're working on for the month, and how we're bringing it into our day. This month it happens to be air, giving space to things, and that connects fully to AI, giving space to the human connection first and then AI, right? Um, and then we talk about topics like this. Like yesterday, it was project management, and what do we need to think about when we are building out a PMO, and what are the good practices, and what might be missing, and why might people be frustrated with their PMO right now. And so that's just a technical conversation with this group of wonderful women in tech. But then we were, last week we were talking about the consequences of AI and what we're feeling as humans, as just humans. And so we want AI as a tool. We want it as something to enhance, but not as part of our identity. So like I was saying with this, I had these clients coming up and saying, "Oh my God, I'm AI brain fried," right? And then we talked about it with inside of Career Alchemy Academy, and I thought I want to write a blog about this. So first thing I did is I just wrote down what my clients were saying, and then I wrote down that we had a discussion in Career Alchemy Academy. And during Career Alchemy Academy, I said it's starting to feel like technological COVID to me. It's starting to feel like isolation. Then I went out to AI and I said, what were the consequences of COVID isolation? And I got some data and I put that into that blog, but I started with what was coming to me from you all in my clients, and then my idea, this technological COVID idea, and then some data from AI, and and then I said, then I asked AI, give me like 3 things they can do if we were doing an AI detox, because I thought of dry AI, and that made me think of dry January. And I thought, okay, what's something like dry January that you could do for the, and so then AI gave me these tips that I'm giving you. But then it gave me these tips, but then I went back into the tips and I changed it. Like I wrote, this keeps the you in your work. Those are my words, not AI words. My words, not AI words. That rhymes. I like that. So number 4. So we talk about putting the you, keeping the you in your work. And number 4 is protecting one AI-free zone. So maybe it's evenings, maybe it's board game night. Maybe it's when you're creating meals and stuff that you go to the old-fashioned internet. The internet is old-fashioned now. ChatGPT. So you go to the internet, go to recipes.com, or pull out the cookbooks to do the meal planning instead of ChatGPT. Can you believe I'm saying that? Like, we're going to use the internet as the old-fashioned way to think about vacation destinations or something like that. And then number 5, it's not really. I would just say, as you're doing these other things, as you're considering no AI before a certain time, like no AI before you talk to humans, no way, the human first problem solving, the AI as an to polish ideas, but not to come up with them initially, but really challenging yourself to be like, well, what would I think? What else? What else? And then also protecting this AI free zone. So, game night or cooking, those sorts of things. And then notice, as part of this dry AI month, getting curious about how you're feeling as you do these things. How does your body feel? How does your brain feel? Are you feeling more calm? Is there more clarity coming to you? Are you feeling more creative? Are you feeling more connected? What might you gain from continuing to incorporate dry AI into your days and weeks and months and years? So because I can, I'm definitely an addictive personality, and I can see how I could lean into this addictively. And that's something that I'm like, I have to, like I'm being very careful and putting a lot of boundaries around it so that I don't do that. Because I recognize what happens with me and addictions is that it takes a lot of joy out of my life. And so I don't want AI to steal my joy. And my joy comes from connecting with all of you, with my friends, with my family, laughing, having fun, breathing the same air. And so let's just try this for the next month, even for the next week. Just dry AI sober curious. Try it on. Message me, email me, let me know how you're doing with it, what your thoughts are on this whole idea of AI being a technological COVID danger, something we should be watching out for. And with this tool, and any of your other thoughts, I'm really curious and really interested, and I want to continue to protect the humanity in all of us, and the connection, the deep connection that really brings the satisfaction and the fulfillment and the joy that is life, that fuels and feeds and nourishes all of us. So we need to protect that like nothing else. So let me know what it's like in this dry AI endeavor. And I'll see you all next week, live here on the live broadcast of Career Alchemy. And please, I don't have now I'm going to change my screen because I forgot to do it again. Here behind me right now, you may be seeing the path that we follow inside of Career Alchemy Academy. And now you'll be seeing the QR code so that you can join Career Alchemy Academy, have these discussions, be part of a community of women who are, pushing back against the dangers of technology and embracing the benefits of technology, but also gathering together and just supporting and it's such an overused word, right? But just loving on each other and being with each other and inspiring each other, listening to each other, offering wisdom that comes with walking this planet. So come join me, talk to you all soon, and see you here next week per the usual. Thank you so much for being here.